and they will sweep this series. They're going to take care of business again tomorrow. But I also said let's take it one game at a time. So I'm getting a little carried away. Yesterday, the Wild win over Tarek Skubal with the crazy sixth inning. Well, in this game, it was the third inning that gave the Guardians the lead, a lead they would not relinquish after the Tigers had a brief lead in the third inning. Tanner Bybee, a solid effort, and the Guardians with some clutch hitting, and they defeat the Detroit Tigers yet again 5-1. And the Guardians, who 3 weeks ago today, yes, 3 weeks ago today, were 11 games out of first place in the American League Central, now lead the American League Central by 1 game over the Tigers. And their magic number for clinching the AL Central is 3. That's it, 3. Their magic number for clinching a wild card is also 3. That would go down to 2 if the Astros lose tonight. So we'll keep an eye on that, but obviously that game will not be over before this podcast is. So let's take a look at the early goings-on in that one. It's a scoreless game just underway. The Astros got the leadoff guy on at the top of the first. By the way, if the Astros win tonight, they will be tied with the Tigers for the final wild card spot. The Tigers do have the tiebreaker over the Astros. They obviously don't against the Guardians. Unbelievable. Another great performance. The Guardians continue to masterfully pitch. Once again, it's hard. It is really impossible to believe what's going on. I have never seen anything like this. I have watched baseball obsessively since the mid-'70s, and I have never seen anything like this. I've seen things, in the ballpark. The Mets collapsing, a 7.5 game lead in the final few weeks to the Phillies. But that was a Phillies team that was a powerhouse, right? And it wasn't even like the Mets played that awfully. It was that the Phillies won every game. This has been a combination of a Guardians team that was below average to mediocre for basically 5 months. I mean, think about this. They have now won 17 of their last 19 games. So that's 15 games over 500. They were a game under 500 3 weeks ago, and now they've got a chance to win 90 games. I mean, just wrap your head around that, folks. The first week of September, they were a game under 500. And if they win out, they will win 90 games. This is insane. This is crazy. Let's look at what Tanner Bybee did in this game. A little shaky early. He didn't have great command, I thought, early. But overall, he pitched very well in this one. He gave up the 1 run to the Tigers. It was a scoreless game till the third. He gave up a 1-out single to Dylan Dingler. He gave up another hit. And really, if you look at that third inning, and this is the difference. This is the difference between these two teams right now. When the Guardians have had their opportunities, for the most part, they have come through. They've gotten some clutch hits. And we'll talk about that, especially where Ramirez is bad in the 7th. We'll talk about all that. The Tigers, their 1 inning where they looked good was the third inning. Think about it. Zach McKinstry led off the third inning. It's a scoreless game. He hits a bullet down the first baseline, and Kyle Manzardo, the much maligned defensively, Kyle Manzardo makes a great leaping catch. Next batter, Dylan Dingler. Boom. Hits a line drive to right field. It's a base hit. Trey Sweeney, hard ground ball to out to the outfield. So that's 3 straight bullets, but there's 1 out, runners at the corners. Parker Meadows gets the sacrifice fly to give them the 1 run, but there's 2 outs now. But then Gleyber Torres with a hard single. So you had like 4. I can't even remember Meadows' sac fly, how hard that was hit. But I know the other 4 were hit hard. And so they kind of had Bybee on the ropes a little bit, even going into the 4th inning. Like the Torkelson, he gave up a hit to Torkelson. It was a long at-bat with Riley Green. There were just some long at-bats, but they had their opportunity there in the third and a little bit in the fourth, and they couldn't take advantage. They got the one run, but that was it. You hit 4 or 5 hard balls in an inning, you expect to get more than one run, and it didn't happen. And then what we saw in the bottom of the third is the Guardians come right back. Our guy, Brian Rocchio, who stunk for most of the season, stunk last year for most of the season, and was great at the end, stunk this year for most of the season. He's been really good at the end. His defense has been much better late in the season. And right after the Tigers got that run, he leads off the bottom of the third inning with a rope double to Riley Green. Great way to start the inning. Quan works a long at bat, grounds out, but gets Rocchio to third. So you got the tying run at third with only one out. And then, I mean, if you've got a pulse at all, folks, if you've got a pulse, if you've got a heart, George Valera, a much ballyhooed Cleveland Guardians prospect for years. I talked about him at the radio station. I talked about him on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. I talked about him on the podcast. We talked about him forever. The Guardians cut him. They brought him back on a minor league deal. He was completely off the radar after being one of their top prospects. He's come back. He's played well. But his biggest hit is a Guardian tonight. Runner on third, one out, and he rips one to right center field. I thought Parker Meadows was going to catch the ball. It's hard to tell. If anybody was at the game, let me know. If you were sitting out in right center by where Valera hit the home run, let me know how close, because it looked to me, I was like, I'm like, shit, Meadows is going to catch the ball. I thought he was going to catch it. He's a good fielder. He's really big, and on TV, it looked like he came very close to catching it, but that could be deceptive from the camera angle. I'd be curious. I know we're getting a million chats right now, so I don't even know if I'll find it if you send me the message. But let's see. But if you were there, let me know. Let me know how close that was. Abel says, if Bull would stop chasing ratings and numbers instead of being a Guards fan first, he would have been having this discussion for a while. Fair weather baseball fans are the worst. Apparently, I'm a fair weather baseball fan. Okay, Abel. Thank you. Manuel Rodriguez, hey, Bull, please answer with your coach cap on. What are the factors that a team has to have to turn a season around? I mean, you got to, first of all, beyond anything, you have to have faith, right? You have to believe in yourself and the guys around you that you can get it done. Because nobody, I don't care what anybody says now. Abel calls me a fair weather fan. I'm sure he was locked into every Guardians game. I guarantee I've watched more Guardians games than anybody else in the media here. I can tell you that, outside of the guys who are at the games. And Abel, I know you were locked into every single moment of every single game when they were floundering around for the whole year. But you have to have belief in your teammates, and nobody did. And there was no reason to. But they believed. They believed. A team that couldn't get out of their own way for essentially 5 months. And now they're playing with a ton of confidence. And that goes a long way. And that's why I thought, especially after they beat Schuylkill yesterday, they would sweep the series. I wouldn't be surprised if the Tigers lost every game the rest of the season and don't make the playoffs. Now, the Astros are playing absolutely horrible baseball too, so we'll see. But you're looking at one team that's uptight and has lost their confidence. And as soon as something goes wrong, they're down. We've seen 2 nights in a row. The Tigers have taken the lead. The Guardians have never looked down. Last night, they're facing Schuylkill. They don't have a run into the 6th inning, but they never give up. The Guardians right now believe they're going to win every game. The Tigers, they think they're going to lose. They're expecting things to go wrong right now. And yeah, and listen, talent is the most important thing in the end. And so eventually these things catch up with you. And maybe there's a good chance that eventually the lack of high-quality bats will catch up with the Guardians. But you never know in a short period of time. And for the last 3 weeks, and hopefully another 3 or 4 weeks, it won't catch up with them. And they believe, the Tigers do not, and that's what's happening right now. We're seeing it in Toronto. You saw in that game, I was talking with Kyle, one of the producers here, who's a big Blue Jays fan, does our Toronto show here at Bet Rivers. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. got himself kicked out of that game. I wasn't really paying close attention to that game. You're in a pennant race, buddy. You can't get yourself kicked out of a game like that. Jose Ramirez is never doing that in this situation. All right, but let's get back. Let's get back to the breakdown. So Valera hits the home run. It was unbelievable, right? So it's 2-1. Now you need a shutdown inning from Bybee. And it looked a little shaky at first because they hit the Torkelson again, a long at bat, but then he strikes out Green. But then he walked Perez. And the pitch count was getting high. And you just took the lead. You don't want to let it go. But great job by Bybee getting out of the fourth. First and second, one out. Gets McKinstry to ground out. Nice play by Rocchio. And then gets Dingler to ground out to end it. Guardians go quickly in the fourth. And then Bybee really settles in. A quick 1-2-3 inning in the fifth. Then in the bottom of the fifth, big insurance run for the Guardians with one out again. Rocchio gets things going with a line drive single to Meadows. Again, the mention of Meadows. He then steals second, and Kwan comes through. Nice opposite field. He went opposite field. And bloops the hit in there. Rocchio scores 3-1 Guardians. Okay. They stick with Rocchio in the sixth, which I love. I wanted to see him try to be able to get through six with a high pitch count. Did I say Rocchio when I meant Bybee? I don't know. But let him go over 100 pitches, which was good. And gets the first two outs in the inning. Green gets the hit. And I was certain that he was going to pull Green, or he was going to pull Bybee after Green gets the hit, because he's done that a lot in the past with that two-out hit. Let's get him out of there. But he stuck with him. He strikes out Wenceel Perez to end it. Nice job. Quality start. 6 innings, 1 run, 7 base runners, 5 Ks. And this is big because, Gavin Williams has become the ace, and he's a horse. But Bybee's a horse too, man. And they need him to pitch like an ace. And he hasn't done that for most of this season. But if you look at the way he's pitched here down the stretch, in September, after, again, Bybee was hideous in July and August. In July, he had a 6.15 ERA. In August, he had a 6.15 ERA. He had given up 4 or more runs in 8 starts in a row, and 10 of 11 starts in July. I mean, this is not good. But in September, 4 starts. Now, to be fair, Tampa, not very good. White Sox, not very good. Tigers collapsing. But I don't care. Just got to keep it real. 3 straight games, he's thrown 100 pitches or more. In this month, a 1.30 ERA in 4 starts. 27 2/3, including the complete game shutout against the White Sox. 27 2/3. Just 21 base runners, which is phenomenal. That's a whip of 0.76. 1 home run, 4 runs, and 26 strikeouts. Efficient. He's gone at least 6 innings, 6 starts in a row, even going back to his last 2 starts that were not very good. So, the whole rotation's cooking right now. So great job by Bybee. But obviously, the game is not over in this situation. It's still just a 3-1 ball game going to the 7th. In the top of the 7th, Tim Herron comes in, makes us all nervous because he hits McKinstry right away. He falls behind Dingler 3-1, but he rallies back to strike out Dingler. Then Ibanez pinch hits, and I was like, when Ibanez hit that hard ground ball down the third base line, I'm like, shit. I'm like, yeah, shit, yeah. Because he smoked that ball down the third base line. We know he's obviously really good against lefties. Smoked it. Jose makes a great stop. And not only makes a great stop, but has the wherewithal to know, I got the runner at second. Like, folks, you don't realize how tough a play that is. He's being pulled away from the play. Like, you just got to have a sense of these things. That means he was like, till the moment he had to turn to get the ball, he had a feel for where the base runner was and if he had time to get him at second base. Makes the throw to second base, gets the force out. So instead of being maybe a double down the line, at least a single, at the very least, you're probably looking at first and third with only one out. Instead, it's a runner on first, 2 out. That was huge. They go to Gaddis. Gaddis strikes out Jones to end the inning. And then in the bottom of the 7th, the Guardians put this one away, although it looked like they were going to blow a huge opportunity. Schneemann walks. Kafis gets a base hit. Rocchio walks. Again, in all 3 innings they scored, Rocchio got on base. Bases loaded, nobody out. Kwan with a weak pop to center. He doesn't come through. Valera, who came through earlier. It's funny because Kwan and Valera knocked in the first 3 runs, but they both did not come through with the bases loaded. So now Jose comes up, bases loaded, 2 outs. And Jose hits a bullet. It nips off the glove of Glaber. For most guys, that's a single. He, of course, is running like a madman out of the box, so he gets a double. Schneemann scores. Halpin, who pinch ran, scores, and they get 2 big. Now, in the end, you can say, well, it didn't matter. They won 5-1. But you can't say that because the Tigers' at-bats were different. The Tigers already were low on confidence, but at 5-1, it was over because they had no confidence whatsoever. So Ramirez puts the nail in the coffin, 5-1. They bring out Junis to pitch the 8th. He goes 1-2-3 in the 8th and then gets the first 2 in the 9th. Base hit to McKinstry. Vote goes to Cade Smith. Personally, I would have stuck with Junis. I'd have given him another batter. I mean, the tying run wasn't even on deck. I would have given him a chance to face Dingler, but he didn't. And Cade Smith, fortunately, only has to throw 2 pitches, so he's good to go, even though he's pitched 2 nights in a row. But he only threw 2 pitches. So that's fine. And he gets a Dingler to ground out, and the Guardians win it 5-1. Again, a season high 14 games, over 500. Taking a look at the other teams in the American League that we care about right now, the Royals still mathematically alive, but not really. You know what? I should double check. Are they still mathematically? No, the Royals have been eliminated. My bad. They have been officially eliminated. Red Sox won. I talked about a little bit about that earlier. They pummeled the Blue Jays. Yankees won, so the Blue Jays and Yankees are now tied for. So you got the Blue Jays and Yankees tied for first in the East. You've got the Red Sox just 3 games back of those teams, but so they're not mathematically eliminated from the division. You got the Tigers a game behind the Guardians. Mariners have clinched the West. In the wild card, right now the Blue Jays have the tiebreaker, so technically the Yankees lead the wild card. So probably either the Yankees or Blue Jays will win the division. The other will be the top wild card. Red Sox lead Detroit for the second wild card. But if Houston wins tonight, Houston and Detroit will be tied for the final wild card. Again, Detroit would have the tiebreaker. Tigers have lost 8 in a row. I mean, this is just insane. The Guardians' run differential this season is still in negative numbers, but if they win tomorrow, they can get out of negative numbers. They're -2 for the season, so as long as they win by 2 or more, they'll get out of negative numbers. But it's hard to believe. But the pitching has just been incredible. Incredible. And they've done just enough hitting in these games. They haven't had to do much, and they've got it done. For those who may be interested in things in the National League, I'll just give you an update. All the divisions, well, I guess I shouldn't say all the divisions are done. The Dodgers are 2 games up with the Padres, so the West is still. But either way, the Padres and Dodgers are both going to playoffs. The only real competition in the National League is the final wild card. The Mets started today 1 game up the Reds with a brutal loss because the Mets are going to lose probably. Cubs blew a big lead to the Mets yesterday, but the Cubs were up 10-2 in the 7th. And if the Cubs held on, and the Reds had won tonight, they would have been Mets and Reds would have been tied for that final wild card. And the Reds have the tiebreaker, but the Reds lost to the Pirates. They were down 2-0 in the 8th. They tied it with 1 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th. Pirates took a 3-2 lead in the 10th. Reds tied it in the bottom of the 10th, and the Pirates win it 4-3 and 11. So there you go. Astros and A's are scoreless top 2. We'll keep an eye on that again. If the Astros lose, the Guardians' magic number for clinching a playoff spot would go down to 2. Right now, it's 3 to clinch a playoff spot and 3 to win the division. If the Astros lose, it'll go down to 2 to clinch a playoff spot, and it will remain 3 to clinch the division. But, again, if the Guardians sweep the series, if they win tomorrow, the magic number will be 1 and to clinch the division. And if the Astros lose tonight and tomorrow, and the Guardians win tomorrow, they can clinch a playoff spot tomorrow. Because if the Astros lose both games, they would be 84-75. And if the Guardians win, they would be 87. So the Guardians would have 3 more wins than the Astros if the Astros lose today and tomorrow, and the Guardians win tomorrow. They would have 3 more wins with the Astros, and they have the tiebreaker of the Astros. So they would clinch a playoff spot. So this team that 3 weeks ago was 11 games out could clinch a playoff spot tomorrow. So keep that in mind. Even though I think some people want to, in a way, you might want to root for the Astros to see the Tigers get knocked out of the playoffs. I don't. I want the Tigers to be that 6th spot because I want the Guardians to play the Tigers. I do want the Astros to lose the next 2 nights, but then I do want them to win after that because I want the Tigers to have to play to the end because you want the Tigers to have to play meaningful games till the final day because if the Tigers have to win Sunday to make the playoffs, they'll have to pitch Skubal on Sunday, which means he could not pitch in game 1 or 2 of the series with the Guardians. And if there was a game 3, he would, if he pitched that game, it would be on short rest, which he probably, you're not likely to, even him is not going to be at his best, especially who knows how he's going to recover after how he was feeling about Fry. Speaking of Fry, broken nose, facial fractures, thankfully no surgery. He's doing okay. Good job by Tarek Skubal riding over with Stephen Vogt to go visit David Fry. That's a class move. And it looks like Fry's going to have a full recovery. They said 6 to 8 weeks is the estimate. He should be good to go by spring training. Obviously, he's done for the season. They put him on the IL and called up Jonathan Rodriguez. So, wild night, just a lot of fun. The last 3 weeks have been amazing, and it's so cool that the Guardians win again. The final score is 5-1. We've got a record-breaking number of people with me tonight. There's so many chats. It's going to be hard to read, but I will read a few. Nathan says, Guards get the win tomorrow night, and they'll need just 1 win over the weekend against the Rangers to clinch the AL Central title. That is correct. If the Guardians win tomorrow, their magic number to win the Central will be 1. So, and don't say just 1. They got to lock this up before Sunday. Because just like I said, Skubal, if they need it, has to pitch Sunday. Well, if the Guardians need to win Sunday, then Gavin Williams has to pitch. And I do not want Gavin Williams pitching Sunday because I want Gavin Williams pitching game 1 of the first round of playoffs. Remember, the Guardians are not going to, I mean, they mathematically could still technically be the 2 seed because the Mariners have 88 wins. So they could pass the Mariners for the 2nd seed and potentially have a bye, but that's unlikely. The Mariners are playing great just like the Guardians. They would really have to. I'm not sure. I don't know a fan of the Guardians-Mariners tiebreaker. I haven't really paid attention to that because it hasn't been necessary. But I would think that's unlikely. So most likely the Guardians are going to play on Tuesday. If Gavin Williams has to pitch Sunday, then he can't pitch in that series unless it's on short rest in game 3, and we don't want that to happen. So take care of business. Lock up this division by Saturday the latest, and let's get it done. Friday night. And good news, like from the Rangers standpoint, they're starting second baseman Marcus Semien, who could have, and they're starting shortstop Corey Seager. They both seem possible to come back off the IL the final week of the season. Both have been shut down for the year. Their hotshot young player, Wyatt Langford, one of their best hitters and outfielder, he got put on the IL today. So 3 of their best hitters are out. The Rangers are playing terrible baseball. I think the Guardians are going to, a week ago, or 10 days ago, whatever, I said the Guardians got to win basically every game to make the playoffs. Well, they're basically going to win every game. They've lost 1 since I said it. I think they're going to win the rest of their games. I think they're winning 90. Now, I shouldn't say that because if they clinch on Friday or Saturday, they'll sit some guys. They'll sit some guys on Saturday and or Sunday. You give Jose a breather, maybe whatever, and maybe they'll lose in that case. But The Guardians will. I'm telling you, I believe this in my heart, in my soul, that the Guardians will not lose a game until they clinch, until maybe after they clinch the division, and because obviously on Saturday and Sunday you might look at bullpen games or whatever. So so that's possible, but this team might win 90 games, but hopefully they don't need that. Hopefully they don't need to win that final game. Well, they won't, because if they have a chance to win 90, they will have already clinched. The Guardians win tomorrow and Friday. No matter what anybody else does, they are American League Central champs. And even if they do lose tomorrow, which I don't think they will, they're still in the driver's seat to win the division. But take care of business tomorrow. The Tigers, I believe, are going with a bullpen game. They do not have a starter listed for tomorrow's game. I'll double check that, see if it's been updated. But yeah, as of now, no starter listed. The Tigers, with everything on the line, are going bullpen game. It's just amazing. It is amazing. It is bonkers. I said the Guardians, they lost on September 4th. They fell to 69-70, and they've gone 17-2 since then. But if you go back even further, the Guardians, let's see, where was their let's see, they were 64-66 after losing to the Rays 9-0. Remember, they'd been shut out. Remember that? The Guardians lost 6 in a row, two against Arizona. They got swept by Texas. They lost to Tampa. The last 3 games of that, they got outscored 24-0. They scored a total of 10 runs in that 6-game losing streak. They had lost 9 of 10. And when they woke up the morning of August the 26th, they were 64-66. And since then, they've gone 22-6. And that, by the way, that does include, that 22-6 includes a 3-game losing streak from August 31st to September 2nd. 1 game against the Mariners and 2 against Boston. But it's been unbelievable. Here's the Guardians runs allowed. Guardians runs allowed since September. Since that 3-game losing streak, okay? That 3-game losing streak I just mentioned, the last of that 3-game losing streak, they got smoked by Boston 11-7 on September the 2nd. They were 68-69. So 18-3 since then, right? In their last 21 games, here's the runs allowed by the Guardians. This might be stupid to do, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm going to find it fun. Runs allowed by the Guardians last 21 games. 1, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 0, 4, 2, 0, 1, 2, 5, but they won. 0, 1, 2, 0, 0, 2, 6, 2, and 1. They have given up more than 2 runs in a game 1, 2, 3, 4 times in their last 17 of their last 21 games. The Guardians have allowed 2 runs or less. I mean, that might be a record. I have no idea. Maybe AI can help me figure that out. 17 of 21 games, they've given up 2 runs or less. That's just bonkers. And they've won all but 3 of those games. And the 3 losses were 3 of the 4 games they gave up more than 2 runs. The only win where they gave up more than 2 runs was that extra inning win over the Tigers on the 16th last week when they won 7-5. What a run by this team. It's just incredible, and they got to keep it going tomorrow. Do not take the foot off the gas. KTB says 19 straight games of starters allowing less than 2 runs, a major league record. It's nuts. One record after the next. Chef Brian K. Well, we earned our spot playing the Tigers this week. Yes, indeed. It was huge that they got to play the Tigers twice, 2 times in the last 2 weeks. They won all 6 games. Well, they won 5 so far. You got one on. Or one more. Karen says, I haven't seen you in a while, Karen. Hi, Bull. The Guardians are a fun, exciting team. Anytime we beat a team from Michigan, I'm overjoyed. Guardians forever. Biloxi. If we win the next 2 games, we win the division. That is correct. Gary says Detroit's going to Boston after they finish with the Guardians. They look done. I mean, I don't know. I would say they're not going to make the playoffs, but again, the Astros are playing so poorly too. I don't know. Like, it's going to be which of those 2 teams can wake up in the final 3 games. I don't know. Let me see. I can't remember who the Astros are playing. Let me look that up real quick. The Astros will play after they finish the series. They play the Angels. Like, it's easy to say. Oh, they got another game with the A's tomorrow, and then they got 3 with the Angels. They should be winning. But they lost yesterday to the A's. You know, and outside of a series win against Texas, they've mostly played terribly. But we'll see. I think there's a decent chance the Tigers are going to miss the playoffs. I don't want that to happen. I want the Guardians to play the Tigers. I'd much rather play the Tigers than the Astros because the Astros have 2 really good pitchers in Brown and Valdez, whereas the Tigers have 1, and he might have to pitch on Sunday. You know? Whereas Brown is pitching tonight for Houston. Valdez pitches tomorrow. So those guys, if the Astros get that last spot, those guys will be ready to go. I'm hoping the Tigers can rally against I guess be careful what you wish for, but I am rooting for the Tigers against Boston once the Guardians clinch the division. Because the matchup with Detroit, not that they can't beat Houston, they certainly can. Houston's not playing well. Houston's lineup is not what it was. Obviously, they lost Kyle Tucker before the season. Yordan Alvarez is out. He's probably going to miss the playoffs. So Jeremy Pena's a little banged up. But I can't imagine there's anybody out there who would rather play the Astros than the Tigers. I know I would rather the Guardians play the Tigers. So let the Guardians clinch. Let them clinch the division by Friday. And then if the Guardians win tomorrow, then win Friday. Let's see the Tigers sweep the Red Sox. Or maybe not even sweep. I don't want them to get too much momentum. But the win one, let them win 1 or 2. And let them beat the Astros. They do have the tiebreaker, like I said. So anyway, so many messages here. I'm sorry I couldn't get to all of them. Buckeye Steve 10 does say, we'll appreciate these breakdowns. I live in Cincinnati now and can't watch the regular season games live. Go Guards. Can't you get it on the MLB TV? Buckeye Steve, check that out. Nathan says they need to build Carl Willis a damn statue at the stadium. Yeah, he may be right. Biloxi, I don't think the Tigers win another game this year. Yeah, I think the Guardians are going to probably end up playing the Astros, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Victor says Detroit has lost its soul. Finally, Big J-Bone says they're all in the front office doing the earthworm and breakdancing. Please hit the like button. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. We just hit 9,000 subscribers on the podcast today. This podcast has been going on for just hit our 2-year anniversary on the podcast. So to get to 9,000 subscribers is just awesome, and I really appreciate it. I love all of you. Ramzig says, Bull, you're the best. Let's give Vogt and the staff credit. I think Vogt's got a real shot to win a Manager of the Year, which is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Nathan says, I'm rooting for the Reds to make the playoffs. The Reds blew it. They still got a chance, but the Mets are losing 10-3 in the year, so the Mets are going to lose. If the Reds had won tonight, they would have moved back into a tie with the Mets, and they have the tiebreaker. So that's a missed opportunity by the Reds to get both the Ohio teams in. Will says, do you think we could get the 2 seed? You know what? Let me look up. I got to find the tiebreaker here. If the Guardians have the tiebreaker, I'll give them a shot. But the Mariners are playing really well. Let's see what I can't remember what the Guardians did. All right, so the Guardians in August took 2 out of 3 from the Mariners. And what did they do when they played them the first time? They lost all 3, so they do not. Oh, shoot, I forgot that. They got swept by the Mariners in Seattle in June. So the Mariners have the tiebreaker over the Guardians when it comes to the 2 seed. and the Mariners are winning 5. The Mariners are playing Colorado. Let's just get to the playoffs. The 2 seed is a big long shot. I think even if they win and out to get to 90 games, I still don't think they'll get the 2 seed because the Mariners, assuming the Mariners win tonight, they're up 5-1 at home against Colorado. By the way, Cal Raleigh hit his 59th homer. Guy's a catcher. He might hit 60 home runs. Unfreaking believable. But assuming the Mariners hold on tonight, they will be, and they've been playing great. They've been as hot as the Guardians. They'll be 89 and 69. So they'll be 3 games up on the Guardians with 4 to go, and they have the tiebreaker. So the only way, assuming the Mariners win tonight, hold on. Assuming the Mariners win tonight, the only way the Guardians could get the 2 seed is if they win out, very possible, but the Mariners would have to lose out, and that's extremely unlikely. So I'm going to say no. First of all, again, they're playing the Rockies right now, the worst team in baseball. The Mariners may be the best team in baseball. The Rockies are the worst team in baseball. They got them tonight, and they got them tomorrow. Now, they play the Dodgers after that, but still, the Mariners are not losing out. They're not losing out. No. 2 seed. Let's get that 3 seed. Houston and the Athletics are scoreless in the 3rd inning. Let's get that seed. All right, folks. Again, I appreciate you all so much for joining me tonight. It really means so much, and I love sharing this time with all of you and celebrating the Guardians playing great. It's really a lot of fun. I love doing these post-game shows, and I'll be back on tomorrow night as the Guardians go for the 3-game sweep. So let's freaking go. Join me again tomorrow night after the game, few minutes after. I'll be back on right after, 5 minutes after, like we did today. Thank you all, really. Have fun tonight. Enjoy it. Let's keep it a day at a time, even though I've been talking about all these other things. And let's go get it again tomorrow. Let's get it done tomorrow. Parker Messick on the hill. He's been pitching well. Keep this roll going. What is it, 17 in a row or 19? I can't remember now if 17 in a row or 19 in a row that the starters have given up 2 runs or less. Either way, it's ridiculous. I don't know why I can't remember if it's 17 or 19. One of you give me the answer quick on the chat if it's 17 or 19 because I can't remember. I'm kind of losing it here. It is 19. Thanks, guys. If you were in a coma for the last 3 weeks and you woke up now, there's no way. If you were in a coma and you woke up and your best friend said to you, let me tell you what's happened with the Guardians the last 3 weeks, you'd say, you're full of shit. There's no way that happened. No way. That's exactly what happened. Thanks to Kyle and Alex for producing tonight. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I'll have a few more thoughts on the Guardians after sleeping on it. I'll also talk with Mary Kay Cabot. So join me right back here in the bullpen, 9 a.m. tomorrow. Again, we'll do a little more on the Guardians, and then we'll get into the Browns with Mary Kay Cabot. And then tomorrow, I'll also be on UCSS tomorrow. And then I'll be back on after the Guardians game, hopefully with the sweep of the Tigers. Thanks, everybody. Again, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. I'll see you tomorrow. Love you all. Good night.